Millennium Blades. It shouldn't work, but does it? We're going to talk about that. Welcome to Shelf Control. I'm Norm.
I'm Lisa.
Talking Millennium Blades.
A deck building game.
Literally, it's a simulation of a collectible card game, like Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or anything like that.
Pokemon?
Pokemon as well. If you've played a collectible card game, this is a simulation of that experience. It has so many weird elements to it. It's got a real-time element where you have a store with booster packs. The backs of the cards look like booster packs with the little crinkled ends on them. And you pay money and you flip it over and it's got one card in it because all you care about is the rare in a pack of collectible cards. And so you've got the store there and you've got a stack of money, and everyone on real time is just, I'll pay $4 for that, and they grab it and look at it and throw it down, and then everyone's just grabbing their cards.
It is chaos.
You're trying to build a deck for the tournament phase while building some collections for some bonus points.
You've got an aftermarket area where you can sell cards or you can buy cards, and those are put up, so you get to see what those are. When you sell it, you put your token on it so that they know it comes from you. You get your token back if someone else buys your card.
And you can only sell so many cards at a time. Somebody has to want to buy those cards before you get your token back.
In a multiplayer game, more than 2 people, you can trade.
The rules say that trades have to be equal, and so cards have a star value, and so the higher the star value, the stronger the card. So if I'm trying to trade a 4 and you're 6, I've got to add $2 to it to keep it equal. You can, as a variant, have just free trading where if you don't have to make it equal, but they say that kind of skews things to the more experienced player who knows what they're looking for. So
you also have a friendship benefit or a friendship card that if, let's say I want to trade with Norm and it's not a sweet enough deal for him, I can give him a friendship card, which gives him an extra, I think, 3 points.
There's like 1, 2, and 3 victory points.
So it depends on how much you really want that card that they have. You can give them your friendship card, which is plus 3 points, or plus 2, plus 1, depending on what you want to do.
No, it's not a huge amount of points, but it can help out if, even though you're playing where the trades are equal, this one card is exactly what they're looking for, and the one that you're getting back, you're not all that into. You can get some points from that. You go through 3 real-time phases of 7 minutes, 7 minutes, and then 6 minutes, and then after that, you take whatever collection you've done and discard it for points, and then you'll flip over to the tournament side.
I'm already there.
I'm already on the tournament side, and you'll take your markers, set them on 0, and then with the deck that you've built, everyone's allowed to bring 1 deck box, 2 accessories, and 8 singles, unless you have something that breaks those rules. And during the tournament, you just take turns playing a card and taking an action. And you're going to play out 6 cards unless something breaks those rules for you.
You don't have to take an action if you don't want to. So it could just be you place a card. There's values.
You have to play a card. You can't choose not to.
And there's a play value on some of the cards where you can get points or you can do something specific based on what the card says. There's an action you can take if you want, in which case you would flip that card after you take that action, so it's no longer in play. And then there's a scoring section, so some cards will give you scoring at in-game scoring time or the end of the tournament scoring, so you can get that. And then you can just play cards off of each other that may benefit from the previous card. So it is like a true card collectible game and a tournament that you would play with that.
Yeah, you'll be collecting cards that will combo off of each other. Like you may play cards that will get you points if you flip them face down, and also have a card that gives you points at the end of the tournament for every card that you have face down or something like that. And so you're trying to, out of all those cards that you bought during the deck building phase, you're trying to collect 8 cards where at least 6 of them work really well together to get you points, with your deck box and your accessories giving you some bonus points as well. Plus you might have your character will have a deck building power and a tournament power that can also get them points.
Yep, so you start the tournament typically, unless you have a card that states otherwise, with 8 cards in your hand, 1 deck box, and 2 accessories. So, and those allow you special bonuses or special actions to take during your turns. So then you have 8 cards, but you're probably only going to play 6 unless a card allows you to do something else. So you'll take 8 in and play 6 generally.
During the deck building phase, a certain meta gets revealed, one for an element and one for a type. In this case, it's fire and animals. And so as long as you have 1 card face up at the end of the tournament that meets that meta, then you'll get 15 bonus points for each of those that you meet. And before the next tournament, those are going to get discarded and new ones are going to come out. And so that might change your deck building a little bit, where it's like, oh, I went all fire animal just for that extra 30 points, and then you flip it over and it's light soldier, and you're like, okay, do I have a light soldier that I can slot into this deck to make it and still have it work so I can win?
So at the deck building phase, at the start of the game, again, there's 3 sections of that. You have a 7-minute section to start with, in which case the first meta will be turned over, so you'll know what particular element is going to be looked for that tournament. So you'll start off with your starter pack, which is 9 cards that you've given, and then you're also dealt at random 3 of the base cards from the base deck, and then 3 of whatever decks you have made up. So there's all these different, they're not starter, what would you call these?
They would be like expansion packs.
Expansion packs. So you have a whole stack of those. You'll deal out 3 at random to everybody, and then 3 from the starter deck. And then you have those just to work with for those 7 minutes, in which you can buy from the store, you can sell or buy from the aftermarket, and you have 7 minutes to do that. At the end of those 7 minutes, we then turn over the other meta card, which is then going to be the type. So there's 6 different types it could be. So then you have another 7 minutes. You're given 3 more cards from each deck, and you go and you continue trying to build your collection, build your deck. And then at the end of those 7 minutes, you get 6 minutes, in which case you can only buy. You can't sell. You can't buy from the aftermarket either.
You can buy. You can buy, but you can't sell.
You can't
anymore.
sell anything.
After the first 2 deck buildings, you've done all the selling, so you got to work with whatever money you have.
So at that point, you're basically just putting your deck together and figuring out what you're taking to the tournament. So you'll have a what's it called?
Your binder?
Your binder, yes, thank you, where you're putting your cards you're not taking. And then you're also, at the start of the deck building phase, you're given money. And it's real paper money. So, and it's a stack of them, but this counts as just 1. Even though it's a bundle of ones, this is $1. So you're starting with $30.
Millennium bucks.
Oh, Millennium bucks. So, and it's just real paper, and that's pretty cool. I like that.
You have a little bit of assembly when you get the game, because you just get a stack of paper money and a sticker sheet, and so you make these little bands around.
Oh, you have to do that? It doesn't come like that?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't come like
neat.
that. So you got to build your money things, and normally I don't like paper money, but it really feels kind of thematic when you're throwing down a big wad of bills to buy a pack of cards and see what you get.
Sometimes it hurts.
So, yeah, I never thought I'd like the paper money in a game, but it works.
So each booster pack has a value in the top right corner, and that's how much it costs. So this one is $4. So if you sell it, you get $4. Well, no, if you sell it, you get the star
value of the card, and it can be different. So
sometimes it's 1, sometimes it can be 7.
If you buy this one for $4, it's a 6-star inside, so you can turn around and sell it for 6 and actually make a profit selling cards.
And then if you want to buy it from the aftermarket, you're buying it for the star value as well.
Yeah, so that's one good thing is when you're selling to the market, you immediately get the money, and then if somebody decides to buy that card, they pay the bank. So you're not putting out a card out there and hoping somebody will buy it so you can get the money.
Which isn't how it works in the real world.
Which isn't how it works in the real world, but it makes it so people are more willing to actually buy the stuff that's there, because it's like, oh, you just threw a $9 card there. I don't want to give you $9 for that card, but since I want it and you've already got your $9, I'll pay $9 for it because it doesn't help you out at all.
There's a variant for 2 players, so you can sell more cards in a 2-player game, and then it's the best of 3 tournaments. So
whoever wins 2 out of the 3. In a multiplayer game, you get a point value based on how you place during the tournaments. So, if you come in last one tournament, you might be able to do well enough in the next 2, and with your collections to actually pull ahead. But in a 2-player, it's just best 2 out of 3 tournaments. So,
and the collections are a bit different. So in a 2-player game, you're going for 2 collections, one for type and one for element. So you're focusing on 2 collections. In a 3 or more player game, you only have 1 collection.
And in the 3 or more player game, you get points based on the size of your collection. So you get victory points for the end of the whole game. In the 2-player, you're building collections, and the size of your 2 collections will dictate into the points that you're taking over to the tournament to see who wins the tournament. So getting a big collection can give you a big boost during that tournament, but it doesn't give you more points. But hopefully you can win the tournament with a bigger collection.
That's the game.
That's the game
in a nutshell.
It's got this real-time element that personally I'm not a huge fan of real-time games, and you've got this tournament phase, which is very simple, just play a card, take an action, play a card, take an action.
And I will say that in a 2-player game, the 7 minutes, and the 6 minutes aren't necessarily you don't necessarily need that much time, but in more than 2 players, 3 or more, it can get stressful because you're having to keep up with what everyone is putting down to sell in case you want to buy it. The store is emptying quickly because people are buying stuff, so you could be looking at a card and saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy that," and someone snatches it before you even get your money together. So it's a bit more stressful with 3 or more players, but it's not in a negative way. It gets your blood kind of churning and that desperate feeling going as you're building your deck.
Yeah, the real-time element, I found that I usually have my deck built well within the constraints of the time, but then I'll be spending so much time working on the deck and getting things, buying things to go for my deck, and then it gets close to time and it's like, collections. I haven't done anything about collections. What do I have in here that I can make a collection out of? Because you have to match either the element or the type in your collection, and they all have to have a different star value. So I can't put a bunch of 4 stars in there. I need a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so you're trying to build the biggest collection of different star values that match an element or type.
And see, I always focus on building my collections first. So get those out of the way, and then I'm going to work with the cards that I have. So I usually spend the first 2 7-minute sections just accumulating cards. And then at that point, the last 6 minutes, I am usually only focusing on building the deck that I'm going to be taking to the tournament. So I usually don't even buy anything in those last 6 minutes. I'm focused solely on putting my deck together for the tournament.
And so when you're trying to build a collection or a deck, the booster packs that you can buy have symbols down each side. So on this side, all these symbols have the soldier type. So that means every card in this pack is going to be a soldier. But on the side here, you have air, fire, water, light, and dark. And so those are the elements that are going to be in here. And supposedly, the top element has the most and the bottom element has the least. So you could be like, okay, I need air. This has air at the top. I'm going to pay 4 to buy this card. You buy it, you flip it over, and it's got dark. And it's
so frustrating.
Just like really buying a booster pack. You're like, okay, odds are I'm going to get dark out of this, and I buy it, and it's a water. That happens to me so much during this game where it's like I need air for collection. Oh great! I just got a dart. I need, and so
And that's where trading comes in on a multiplayer game. So that's when you're like, okay, I need a dark 6. Anybody got a dark 6? And that can help with your collection. And someone can say, yep, I've got one, I don't need it, and then you can work out a trade for that.
They might be like, well, I need a light 4 for my collection or something like that, and so then you've got that trading element going on, which is nice in a multiplayer. It's missing from the 2-player because you don't want to make trades with your opponent.
I will say I have never played from a deck building. I dabbled in Magic the Gathering a million years ago and maybe played once or twice. I don't really remember anything from that because, again, this was close to, well, I'm not going to give the number, but it was a long time ago. So I don't remember much of that. And I played with a deck that someone else had built for me. So I have no experience in deck building in that regard. So this was the first time playing this. Was quite stressful to me because I didn't know how to play or how to build a deck. And so playing with Norm and our son, who are both very much into deck building and know how to play cards against each other, that's new for me. So that was a little challenging and stressful for me. I still don't have a full grasp of it to know how good cards can play off of each other, but I can hold my own in it. So I'm not ready for any type of tournament, but playing just at home, it's not too bad.
Yeah, the last game she beat me two tournaments straight in the 2-player game. So
well, but the one before you beat me 2 tournaments straight.
Now, even though I'd gotten this game a while ago, I am playing with some variants that they suggested that came out in some of the expansions that could also be implemented. When the game first came out, you would shuffle all of these expansion packs together and shuffle them in with the base set.
Oh, all together?
Which is, it's just, this stack of cards is always in the game. And so you would shuffle them all together and put them out in the shop. And we found that there were times where you would get a lot of just the base set out there and no one would really want to buy those. And you might buy them just to try to get something out, but then somebody else would jump in and buy. They've actually came up with the variant, which I think is the rules now. You take all the expansions, shuffle them together, and have them in a separate stack. And that's what populates the store is the expansion packs. Although you can always at any time spend $3 to get the base set. And
that, but why would you do that?
I do because it costs $3 and there's not bad cards in here. I'll usually run a tournament that has at least a couple of the base set cards in it. Plus they're cheap for building out collections. But the problem with them is it doesn't have any.
Right, you don't know what you're getting.
It's got all elements and all types in there.
And we decided to do the review of this one because there's an expansion coming out.
There's a Kickstarter going on right at the moment. They're coming out with two new expansions, I think. But they do have different pledge levels for people who just have the base game or have the base game and all the expansions coming up or whatever. And I think you can also just pitch in $1 to get to the pledge manager and add anything a la carte that you want. And so when I saw that, I was like, I need to bust this back out and try it again because I remember enjoying it, and I played it with David a few years ago, and I think he enjoyed it. So we wanted to get this video out while the Kickstarter is still going, so you guys can maybe use this to help guide your decision. My version is just the base, no expansions, but the expansions just add more boosters and maybe some more different actions and stuff that these cards will take.
Additional characters.
The one expansion that I would really like to try adds a boss that you're fighting. It's like a super tournament guy, and you can either play solo against him, or we could play as a team against that person. So it adds another element. Yeah, it adds a solo and a co-op, which the base game doesn't have. So I can't speak to that, but I'm really interested in that.
And you did reach out to them and confirm that you can buy stuff separate, right?
Yeah, so they're planning on
Or going to retail, or
going to retail with these reprints, because the old expansions, they're reprinting those, and they're hard to get on the secondhand market, or stores just don't have them in stock new. So that the idea that they're going to be available at retail is great. I guess we can talk about our review, what we think of it.
I hated it. It was horrible.
So I thought I would dislike it. The idea of a collectible card game simulator was appealing to me years ago, and I picked it up. And like I said at the beginning of the video, this shouldn't work. It's got that real time element where you're just buying and you're just grabbing random cards and throwing them together, and then the tournament itself is, it's not very deep.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to make the best deck you can out of these cards, and it's just play a card, possibly take an action, play a card, take an action, and it just it works.
When they were giving me the instructions, or teaching me the game, I was very overwhelmed at, again, never playing a deck building game, never building my own collector deck. I had no idea what I was doing. And I ended up kicking tail the first tournament. I ended up making them have to flip a whole lot of cards that were good for them. And so the next tournament, they changed their deck up to combat that, so to be able to negate that. But I had changed my deck up to no longer do that. And so they had prepared all of this defense, and I was not on the offense there at all. You also, we didn't talk about, in this game, you can clash with your opponent. So
there's certain cards that will initiate a clash.
And a clash is basically taking your star value of your far right card and the star value of their far right card, and each of you take one
card at
off
random
the deck
and add that star value to see who wins the clash. And the card that is initiated the clash will tell you what the winner gets, and or if the loser takes a punishment or whatever.
And the cards you take off the deck go into the aftermarket, so they don't get discarded. They go into the aftermarket for people to potentially buy next deck building phase. Yeah, so I didn't think I'd like the deck building, but I did enjoy it. The first couple times was, again, a little stressful, not knowing what I'm doing. I'm still very new to figuring out what card plays well off of each other. Norm is very good at that. In any game we play that involves cards, he's very good at figuring out the best cards to play off of each other.
The starter decks do a good job of basically giving you a deck to start with. It's a starter deck. Like this one's the Green Do Bazaar. It's all air cards with a deck box. Oh no, it doesn't have it should have a deck box, right?
There's a deck box.
Yes, okay, there's the deck box. And it gives you a deck box that gives you end tournament points for every air card that's in your tableau. So,
and you're given one accessory as well, and that's always going to be the deck protector. So you can flip it to prevent a card in your tableau from being flipped
by an opponent, not your own.
Right.
But so, you can bring your deck protector, your deck box that gives you points for air, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 7 air cards here. You just add one more card, and you've got a deck that you can play that somewhat combo off of each other and give you some end tournament points, and give you an idea of how that tournament actually plays out. There is an alternate where you can actually hold like a pre-release tournament where everyone just plays their starter deck just to give everybody an idea of, okay, this is how the tournament goes. All right, now you have an idea, let's do the deck building, and you can start buying cards and seeing how they fit into your starter deck.
That's what we played when I kicked tail on having everyone play their cards.
Yeah, because each starter deck plays somewhat differently, and she had one that would flip people's cards over.
I had a dark deck.
So everybody's deck that had things that score at the end of the game, she would end up flipping those down. With this game, theme is everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a game where you could paste anything else over it. You couldn't be like, okay, this is now a medieval farming game, or this is a starship fight uh, battle. You know, this is CCG, the card game. Everything is just comes from the theme of buying booster packs, getting only one card that's worth anything. The buying stuff and possibly selling them for more. The trading. We didn't mention, but there's promos where you can cash in, discard a certain number of your cards, and you get to go through here and pick one of these promo cards to help your deck.
At the end of each tournament, you get
there's a like a participation promo that you just get one of these at random at the end of the tournament. It's so much.
It's very realistic.
It's a collectible card game simulator. This is another rule that they changed. Was you used to shuffle these promos, and when you discarded 7 cards, you would just take the one off the top. They have to change it so you can like look through and pick which one, which actually makes it a much better action to take, because you might be looking for an air card, and these are generally high star values, so you might be like, none of these cards help my deck at all, but I can totally add this 7-star air to my air collection for more points. And it's
just real.
I don't we haven't reviewed a game on this channel that has the theme just so ingrained in it that it can't possibly be about anything else.
Right. Yeah. And it's all, and what's interesting is all of these packs are all focused on something real life that is just kind of played off on, or entertainment wise. So you've got like a 007. I don't know where he is. There he is.
Well, it's just far enough off for copyright reasons.
Yep.
Because this is James Bomb 006 plus 1. And so they have cards that are thematic. Penny Farthing, Dr. Gold Ducky. The deck box is called Shuffled Not Stirred. They have the whole
spy theme kind of going
James
there.
Bondy thing going.
This one is Super Plumber Brothers. And again, all the cards that go in here, you've got the Brogy. That's another Brogy. Andy Conga as the ape. So it's just a play off of, TV shows or games or movies, things like that. And it's just really creative how they've put that together and come up with the names and stuff for those kind of characters.
Yeah, and they've got like thematic flavor text to go with it. So this is the Cards Magica booster, and so you have Headmaster Gamblemore, and it says, after losing everything in a game of Wizard's Bluff, he's been forced to work as a teacher to make ends meet. So if you know the pop culture, there's all kinds of hidden jokes in here.
And what's interesting is when you're building your deck, you're not looking at the cards, you're not seeing what kind of theme they have, you're not reading that flavor text. And it's only
you've got 7 minutes, so you're
not paying attention to any of that.
You're looking at symbols and abilities. That's all you're looking at.
So I have found during tournaments is when I'm actually paying attention to the card, the flavor text, the pictures, things like that, and it's entertaining. So I'll just start laughing in a tournament because I've read something on the card that's funny.
Yeah, they've got all kinds of everything. There's a Firefly set that is I forget what it's called. Is it Junebug? I can't remember what they call it. There's one that's Legend of Zelda themed that has all kinds of in jokes there. And normally that kind of thing would also turn me off of a game, but in a collectible card game with all these themed booster sets, it works. It really works.
It's very entertaining. Yep.
And there's so many in the base set. There's so many different expansion packs that You can just randomly pick a number of them and shuffle them together. There's online apps that you can use that will randomize that for you. If you go online to the new rule book, that's where I read about the new setup of keeping these separate. They have a list of different combinations and like an explanation of, this one has a lot more clashing in it. So if you want more in your face stuff, put these together. Or if you want to do more hand manipulation, put these sets together. Or you can just go random and just slam them together and just be like, let's see what we can do. And so there's a lot,
which is how I prefer to do it.
a lot of replayability.
I'm not into all of that yet. I'm not advanced enough to, again, know what works well off each other. I'm still figuring out the game. So we've played it quite a few times. I don't dislike it. I just don't know how to build a deck. So I'm still learning. I'm very much an amateur at that. So I want to get more plays in. I want to understand how cards work off each other better. And I know that the more I play deck building games, the more I do tournaments, the more I'm going to learn and get better at playing cards. There's really nothing that I can think of that I truly dislike about the cards, about the game itself. I think it plays well.
It says specifically in the rules, if you play out a card during a tournament, there's no take backsies.
No take backsies. That's what it says.
So there's, because you've got this limited amount of time, and you have to think about building a deck, building a collection, and what's in the market and what's out here. And so you're basically like dividing your attention up amongst all these different things. And there'll be times during a tournament where you'll be like, all right, I'm going to play this card. And then you read it and be like, oh, that doesn't quite do what I thought it does. And it's like, well, too late.
Too late.
And
it's out
like,
there.
It simulates that pressure of a tournament where it's like, you've got all eyes on you. You're trying to win this tournament, and you make a little flub up. And so, there'd be times I'll be like, okay, these 6 cards work so well together. I'll play this one and this one and this one and this one. And then when I actually like sit down and wait for my turn and I'm reading it, it's like, okay, if I play that one, then that one the timing's not right to do that. That's going to cause that to flip down, which means that I won't have it for this. And it's like, okay, now I got to rethink how I'm doing this. It also simulates the pressure of a tournament. It's
well, I don't know that. I've never been in a tournament.
It's such a good collectible card game simulation. What you might not like, if you don't care about collectible card games, you might not be interested in this. Although I don't think you need to have that. She hasn't had that experience, but
no.
But to those of us who have played in tournaments and things like that, you have that added layer of understanding of this part of the game really contributes to the feeling of this, and the building collections, and that's
it works.
And it shouldn't work, but it works.
Let's move on to scoring.
Okay.
Because I think we've talked as much as we can about it.
Who's going first?
So 1 to 7 on mechanics, playability. I hate giving such high scores, but I don't know how to improve it. I would say a 7. So I mean, the only thing is that it's just a flimsy cardboard paper you turn back and forth, but it works. There's no need to change it. So you've got this side for your deck building, you've got this side for your tournament, and it just works. So you've got your little markers where you mark your scoring. That might be the only negative, because if you hit your marker and you don't know where you were, you've lost your place.
And it's a little bit weird because you have a marker for 1s, 10s, and 100s. So
and sometimes my brain just doesn't process it.
There, then you move that one up, and then when this one moves up there, you move it back there and move that one up.
So how to score it might be the only negative thing I would give it. So okay, I'll knock it to a 6.
It's not worth knocking it to a 6 for me.
Oh, okay.
I'm keeping it at a 7.
Okay.
There might be some balance issues, especially in a 2-player game.
Yeah.
We found this power creep guy, which was your guy,
Oh, give me my guy.
to be a little bit strong. My guy, his thing was he would get more money for selling, and he could get pay less for buying.
Which really did, I mean, he was able to get more cards, but it really didn't change the game. I mean, he lost. He wasn't, it didn't get him the win. But of course,
in the multiplayer game, every $4 that you have left over is a point, and so maybe this guy would be stronger in a multiplayer game where you can just.
But we never end up having extra money because we're buying everything we can.
Well, I never even tried. I only played him in the 2-player game, so I didn't even try to keep money because I knew it wasn't worth any points.
Right.
So maybe I would have done it differently.
And this guy actually gives you more points. So in the deck building phase, you can actually look at the top 2 cards, and at any time you can kind of take the top one, put it at the bottom, and you're using the next card. So it could be for the first round he's focusing on fire, and I can be like, nope, we're going for air. And I've already known that. I've already built my deck with air, and so now he's scrambling because he's got
now
fire.
I need to find an air card that will fit into my deck.
Because again, at the end of the tournament, if you've got an air card, or in this case an animal card, you get an extra 15 points each if you've got those cards. And for this character, he actually gets an additional 10 points on each of those. So it's 50 points at the end of the tournament instead of 30.
Where I could get the most 30.
So I think he might be a little out of balance in the game. We haven't used him in more than 2 players, so it'd be interesting to see how he would do in that. But that's an extra 20 points at the end of the game. That's pretty substantial.
In a multiplayer game, in the one we did, he's got an ability where he can kind of set up the card on top of the deck, and so I was playing I went with a clashing deck where I would flip over the first card, and since I put it there, I knew it was a high value card to try and beat her.
So he whipped my tail in all the clashes, but I still won.
But I didn't have, none of my clashes had the thing of, okay, the winner gets to pick one of their cards to flip down.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if I was able to do that, maybe I'd flip down her animal card so she wouldn't get that bonus. And in a multiplayer game, there may be multiple people possibly being able to flip your cards down.
Another thing on him that I had forgotten is anytime you play a card that's either an animal or a fire, in this case, you automatically get 4 points. So every card in my tableau was either a fire or an animal. So that right there is an automatic 24 points that I got. So just in that game alone, I got 44 points extra just because of the character that I was playing. So that he's a really, really strong player.
So it'll take more plays to decide whether or not we think he's too strong.
Right now he seems a little bit too strong, but again, we haven't got enough plays in to know for sure.
So, with the power of the cards, there might not be balance and stuff, but I don't care, because I mean that's part of the collectible card game. Is you show up to a tournament and somebody's got the better deck of cards. That's just how it is. You got to try and scrap your way through it. So I would give it the 7 out of 7 for the mechanics, even though the individual pieces, normally I would score it lower because I don't like real time. I don't like paper money. The tournament part of it seems pretty simplistic, but you put all those subpar things together, and you get the 7 out of 7 for the mechanics, because it just simulates it so well.
Okay, so the wow factor, 1 to 3.
Factor?
Play how eagerly you want to play this game. I'm gonna give it a 1, and it's not against the game whatsoever. It's a very good game. For me personally, I am not a deck builder. I'm not a collectible card game person. That's not what I look for in games. I enjoyed playing this. If the gaming group says, hey, let's play this, I'm up for it. I'll play it. But I don't think I would ever suggest the game. Again, not to knock it. It's just not my cup of tea.
I'm probably going to go up to a 2, just because I am interested in playing this more, and I am interested in getting an expansion or two that adds that solo co-op. Personally, I'm willing to sit out the Kickstarter to wait for the expansions to come out retail to buy them, because there's still combinations of this.
Yeah, there's still lots of playability here
to go, and so there's getting an expansion. Well, even if we do the Kickstarter, we're not getting the expansion fast. It'd probably be a year or more. So if I'm waiting that long, I might as well wait longer. It'd probably be cheaper retail, and I can pick them up if they go on sale or something.
And I'm not saying I don't want to play this. I want to play this more to learn more about collectible card games, to learn more about building a deck. So I do want to get more plays of this in, just for my education and learning more about that. But it's just not my cup of tea. It may change. That may totally change the more we play this. I could be like, bring me all the collectible card games. Let's do it. But it's just I don't see that happening. But I do want to get more plays in.
Yeah, one of the intriguing things about the expansions are what different expansion decks have they come out with. Now this one is like a Mega Man set, and you have pirates and samurais, and there's Bruce Lee. Cards from the Crypt has a horror theme. What new pop culture references are they coming out with? And so
yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
So I assume that means that it's staying in our collection.
For now, yes.
Yeah, this game is so unique that I'd be hard pressed to get rid of it, because what game would replace this? This one scratches a very particular itch.
Yes.
And there's no other game like it.
No, that's true.
That's Millennium Blades.
So have you played it? Do you like it? Are you like me, that you're just learning how to play card building games?
If this seems your thing, check out the Kickstarter. Not a sponsor. We haven't been approached by anybody for this, but they do have a Kickstarter where they're reprinting everything from base set on up, plus a couple new expansions.
Yeah. So let us know your thoughts.
If you've been wanting to get your hands on this and have had trouble finding those expansions, that might be the way to do it.
Or do you have the expansions and it adds something great that we don't know of, that we really need to check out for the existing expansions? Let us know.
Yeah, how is the solo and the co-op? Is that, if you have it, is that a way that you would choose to play it, or is that just an afterthought?
Yeah,
that
is it worth it?
You don't even consider it.
Let us know.
So, anyways, thank you for watching.
Thanks for tagging along with us, having fun playing all of our games. Like us, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, all that stuff. And we'll see you next time.
Great.